What if one day we packed up and left Earth for good? What if humans found a new home on Mars? Living on Mars is a dream we've seen in movies and read about in books, but with recent advancements in space exploration, it might not be far-fetched anymore. Let's dive into what would really happen if we end up living on the red planet. What changes would we face? How would we survive? And what challenges lie ahead for humanity? Why Mars? Mars is the closest thing to Earth in our solar system. It's about half the size of Earth, has seasons, polar ice caps, and even signs that liquid water may have existed in the past. Unlike other planets, Mars isn't a gas giant, and its surface is solid, meaning we could actually walk on it. But that's where the similarities mostly end. Mars has a thin atmosphere, making up almost entirely of carbon dioxide, and its surface is a harsh, freezing desert. Temperatures can drop as low as minus 80 degrees Fahrenheit, and without a magnetic field to shield it, the planet is constantly bombarded by radiation from the sun. So the question isn't just why Mars, but also how can we make it habitable? Building a Martian home. One of the first things we would need to figure out is how to build homes on Mars. The good news? We already have some ideas. Scientists and engineers are working on habitats that could be built using materials found on Mars, like Martian soil. This would cut down the need to ship building materials from Earth, which would be extremely expensive. The idea is to create self-sustaining habitats that are insulated from extreme cold and shielded from radiation. Imagine living in a giant dome or underground, where every part of your life would be carefully controlled, from the air you breathe to the food you eat. We would need to bring oxygen and water from Earth at first, but eventually we'd need to figure out how to produce those necessities locally. And we can't forget about growing food. Without soil, rain, or Earth-like temperatures, farming on Mars would be a challenge, but scientists are already exploring hydroponic farming and lab-grown food as potential solutions. The challenge of breathing on Mars. Oxygen is something we take for granted here on Earth, but it's one of the biggest obstacles to living on Mars. The air on Mars is about 95% carbon dioxide, so we wouldn't be able to step outside without a spacesuit. In fact, even inside our homes, we'd need to create an artificial atmosphere to breathe safely. Luckily, NASA has already begun experimenting with ways to make oxygen on Mars. One possible solution is MOXIE, an experimental device that can convert carbon dioxide from the Martian atmosphere into breathable oxygen. If successful, devices like MOXIE could pave the way for future colonists to produce their own oxygen, making long-term living on Mars more feasible. Martian gravity and its impact. Gravity on Mars is only about 38% of Earth's gravity. That means if you weigh 100 pounds on Earth, you'd weigh just 38 pounds on Mars. At first, this might sound like fun. Imagine being able to jump 3 times higher than normal. But the long-term effects of low gravity on the human body are still largely unknown. On Earth, gravity helps keep our muscles strong and our bones dense. In space, astronauts who spend long periods in zero gravity often experience muscle atrophy and bone loss. Although Mars has some gravity, it's not clear if it's enough to keep humans healthy in the long run. Over time, we might need to come up with ways to artificially simulate Earth's gravity to prevent serious health problems. Solving the water problem. Water is essential for survival, but on Mars, it's not as easy to come by. Although there's evidence that liquid water may have flowed on Mars in the past, today it's mostly locked up by the planet's polar ice caps and underground. Researchers are developing ways to extract water from the Martian soil, but it's a slow and energy-intensive process. Another option is melting the ice at the poles, though this too presents technological and environmental challenges. Without a steady supply of water, life on Mars would be difficult, if not impossible. In the future, advanced technologies could allow us to recycle water efficiently or produce it from hydrogen and oxygen, but for now, water remains one of the biggest hurdles to living on Mars. Food production and sustainability. We're used to growing food in the Earth's rich soil, but Mars doesn't have the same kind of fertile ground. Instead, scientists are exploring alternative farming methods like hydroponics and aeroponics. These methods allow plants to grow without soil, using nutrient-rich water or mist. Mars colonists might also need to get creative with their diets. Lab-grown meat and algae-based foods could provide the necessary nutrients without relying on traditional farming. In fact, some researchers believe that algae could be one of the key components of a sustainable Martian food system, thanks to its ability to grow quickly and thrive in harsh conditions. Psychological and social impacts of living on Mars. Living on Mars wouldn't just be physically demanding, it would be psychologically challenging too. Colonists would be isolated from Earth, with communication taking anywhere from 4 to 24 minutes one way due to the distance between the two planets. The sense of isolation and distance from home could lead to mental health issues like depression, anxiety, and loneliness. Additionally, living in a small enclosed space with the same group of people for months or even years at a time could cause interpersonal conflicts. Mars colonists would need to be highly trained, not just in survival skills but also in managing their own mental health and working well with others. Group dynamics and psychological resilience will play a huge role in the success of any long-term Mars colony. Just like astronauts on the International Space Station, Mars settlers would need strong support systems and tools to maintain their mental well-being. This could include virtual reality experiences that mimic life on Earth, regular communication with loved ones, and mental health professionals who provide remote therapy. Long-term evolution and human adaptation. If humans were to live on Mars for generations, our bodies might start to evolve and adapt to the new environment. The lower gravity, higher radiation levels, and lack of sunlight would all have an impact. Over time, we might develop denser bones to counteract the effects of low gravity. Our skin might change to provide better protection against radiation. It's also possible that we'd see changes in how our muscles function, how our organs operate, or even how we grow and develop as a species. This could lead to future generations of Martians who look and function differently than the humans on Earth. The political and legal implications. If humans live on Mars, who governs it? Right now, the international space law is based on treaties like the Outer Space Treaty of 1967, which says that no country can claim ownership of a celestial body like Mars. But once people are living and working there, new laws and governance systems would likely need to be developed. Would Mars colonies be governed by Earth-based governments, or would they form their own independent political systems? The potential for conflicts over resources, power, and leadership could emerge, especially as more countries and private companies become involved in space exploration. Resolving these legal and political issues would be crucial for ensuring that a Martian colony thrives peacefully. What does it mean for Earth? Establishing a human presence on Mars would have profound implications for Earth. For one, the technologies we develop for living on Mars could benefit us here at home. New ways to produce energy, grow food, and recycle resources in harsh environments could help solve some of our biggest challenges on Earth, like climate change, food shortages, and resource depletion. In addition, Mars could serve as a backup for humanity. If Earth ever faces a catastrophic event like a supervolcano eruption, an asteroid impact, or even man-made disasters, having a colony on Mars could ensure the survival of the human species. But living on Mars also forces us to rethink our relationship with Earth. Mars is a barren, inhospitable planet. The fact that we are considering moving there should make us reflect on how precious and unique Earth is, and perhaps inspire us to take better care of our home planet. Living on Mars is no longer just a science fiction fantasy, it's a real possibility, with advancements in technology and space exploration bringing us closer than ever. But it won't be easy. From building self-sustaining habitats to solving the oxygen, water, and food challenges, there are many obstacles to overcome. More than just a physical journey, living on Mars would represent a monumental step forward for humanity, a chance to extend our reach into the cosmos, but also an opportunity to learn from our experiences and reflect on what it means to be human. So, what will happen if we live on Mars? One thing is for sure, it will change everything. How we see ourselves, how we live, and how we define our place in the universe. If you enjoyed this deep dive and its importance, be sure to like and subscribe for more thought-provoking content.